Hello, I am Mani Malarvannan. In this video, we will look into how AI agents can be used to manage the crypto portfolio. This video presentation is for educational purpose only, so I'm not recommending that you need to go and start using AI agents. I'm not using AI agent personally, but this video will explain what are all the capabilities AI agents can have in managing the crypto portfolio in the future, and also some of other folks are already started using these type of agents to manage their portfolio. So there are pros and cons this approach. We will go through it, and again, please talk to your financial advisor before making any portfolio changes on your crypto or any other investments, because I'm not a financial advisor. So the first question everyone is asking right now, because of the AI agents and the crypto integration, is your crypto portfolio already obsolete? So the question is maybe yes, maybe no. So the main difference between the crypto agents versus the human being managing the portfolio is the crypto agents can able to manage the portfolio 24/7. It can able to execute orders, and it can able to scan various data feeds coming from Twitter and other social media platforms. And also it can go and analyze the already completed transaction in various blockchains and networks. And also it can go and identify what are all the pending transactions in the mempool. All those are all possible. But as a human being, it's not possible for any human being to be awake 24/7, 365 day to manage, read, understand, and execute the trade. And that's where the technology, the AI technology, AI agents coming into play in the crypto world, and how the future is going to co-evolve with the human being managing the agent. We will look into it in this presentation. Since the invention of AI agents 1 year back, there are a lot of technology changes started happening, integrating the AI agent in the crypto. There are many companies working on creating this type of agent framework so that ordinary people can start using the agent by start using and creating their own agent to manage the portfolio. So the agentic infrastructure is already in place. So the multiple platforms can allow individual users to create their own agent and then customize it based on whatever rules they want to create to manage their portfolio. And also these agents can read a large volume of data from various networks, because without data, there is no AI and there is no agent. So all those technologies needs data in place so that the agent can fastly read the data, understand it, interpret it, and also it can understand what your intention and execute the transaction 24/7. In the previous videos, we talked about the simple agents, how you can start using it by simply setting the goal, go and do this type of transaction on a everyday basis. Whenever the transaction fee is less than some number of dollars, you can give a rule, or you can say that execute the transaction whenever my ETH value, token value goes beyond certain percentage, beyond certain value. You can define those type of rules and the agents will execute it. So that's a simple agent we discussed. And if you need more information about these type of agents or agent fundamentals, please go and view our previous videos, and we will also provide link in this video so that you can go and watch those videos as well. So the complex agents are the agents that can able to do complex transaction logic that needs to read a lot of data from multiple different places. For example, it needs to go to the Twitter feed or blockchain data and read the past transaction, and also it needs to read the current transaction that are happening in real time, understand, interpret, and also it needs to understand your intention and execute the transaction, managing your portfolio on your behalf. So, So 2024-25 is the main year in the history book of crypto will be written, where the agent started integrated into crypto to manage it. Because there's a lot of platform needs that needs to happen, that both software and hardware technologies needs to happen so that agent can freely perform and execute the transaction. So it's already started happening in 2024. It started in 2024 and it accelerated in 2025. In the coming years, it's going to drastically increase the agent penetration in the crypto managing the user's portfolio. Uh, the two main things, agentic infrastructure and mission readable data. The agentic infrastructure is both the software, hardware components, the GPUs, all those infrastructure needs, hardware infrastructure needs to be created, and also the software needs to be created to manage the hardware, to manage the agent so that it can run 24/7 without any issues. And then mission readable data. The agent needs data. First, it needs to be trained. Your LLM, the large language model like ChatGPT or other popular LLMs, that needs to be trained in the cryptographic data, all the blockchain data, all the social media data, so that the LLM, the large language model, can understand what is the trade, what is the transaction, what is the mempool, all those it needs to understand. And also it needs to interpret the understand various market conditions and various exchanges and try to get the knowledge from the existing blogs, articles, and it needs to be trained. For that, it needs to have a large amount of machine readable data. And also, it needs to read the data in real time, going after blockchain, both the mainnet and the L2s, understand what transactions are happening so that it can able to help you to manage your portfolio. Those two things are already started happening and it's going to accelerate in the coming years. So where AI agents already dominate, so these four points that we are going to discuss in this presentation is the dominant factor for AI agents integrating in the crypto world. The microstructure speed, it can able to go and read and understand various transactions in the L2 decentralized networks and understand what is going on. It can scan large amount of data so that it can identify the simulate slippage and execute the transaction faster than any human because the human can't work 24/7. You need to take a break, you need to go to get take a coffee break, and you need to take a long break like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. For all those time the agents can continuously work because as you all know, the crypto is a 24/7 market. Throughout the year, throughout 24/7, 365 days, anybody from the world is committing a transaction, either buying or changing, exchanging, and all those things are happening. So you need to have that agent to monitor those networks, monitor the transactions, and correct your portfolio according to the needs and rules you set for that agents. So 24/7 rebalancing is the dominant factor for AI agents to execute on your behalf without sleep. And then the pattern mining. It can able to understand the data and identify if a transaction needs to be committed now or maybe 1 hour later or 1 day later. It can able to use the patterns whatever it learned from the previous transactions, previous exchanges, and also the current events that are happening, current rule changes, current market conditions, and it can able to identify what is the best course of action it needs to take to satisfy the rules you created for that particular agent. So that's also possible now. And then the behavioral mirroring. No matter what, human beings are emotional. So you making a transaction, either committing a transaction to sell or buy, there is a emotional involvement involved because you read a news or your friend or your family members told you something and then you are acting upon it to either buy or sell. But agents are not like that. So you give it. particular rule for that agent, and then the agent will go and execute the rule based on whatever you set. You could set any type of rules. You can say that, okay, do not do any transaction if the transaction cost is going to be more than, say, $5 or $10, something like that. So, or you can give a complex rules, and then the agent will understand, and flawlessly it's going to execute it for you. There is no emotional baggage the agent will have. It's going to go and execute all your rules and then balance your portfolio. So that is already started happening by the integration of agents with the cryptographic. And the discipline advantage. As a human being, we all will have our own discipline, risk factors, when to do the transaction and how much transaction cost we are willing to spend, and how many tokens we are going to buy. And all those are all possible using our own knowledge and also our own maximum extractable value that we set it for ourselves. But when you start using agents, you can also define those to the agent as a rule. You can set as a plain English language. It's not like a complex program you need to understand and you need to program the agents. It's all English. If you can able to write prompts in ChatGPT, then you should be able to give the prompt and then instructions for the agents to execute on your behalf. So that's the main clear advantage for human beings to start using the agent to manage the portfolio, so that it can able to identify high value transactions, low value transaction, mid value transaction, and understand your risk and understand all the input that it knows about you, the context it gets, it uses it, and it executes it, and ultimately it balances your portfolio. So these are all the agent powered playbook. You can start thinking of, you can think of it as a multiple layer, and you can understand what agents can do to manage your portfolio. Signal discovery. See, let the agents go and understand various transaction, identify the signal. There is a signal and noise. For example, if somebody puts a tweet on X, it could be a fake tweet or it could be a real tweet. So it needs to understand the signal and noise and identify what is correct based on your goals, based on the rules you set, and then use the signal to identify whether a transaction needs to happen or not. And then the risk and sizing. So keeping the human oversight, you set the rules, you set the your risk factors, how much you can tolerate, how much you don't want to tolerate, and then you set the rule, and then your capital allocation, for example, 60% Ethereum token and then 40% Bitcoin. You can set it like that, and it's going to go and execute based on the risks, and then the sizing you set it up in within the agent rule book so that it can able to execute based on all those rules that you set. And then the execution. And the agents can handle the mechanics with the strict constraints and the fee budget, transaction fee budgets, and also it can able to know when the networks are congested and when it is free, and it can able to constantly check the transaction fee for the transaction that needs to happen, and it can identify the best time to commit the transaction within the blockchain network. And it can do 24/7. I keep telling 24/7 because we humans have to take a break, but the agents on the other hand, it can work 24/7, 365 a day. And then the complaints. No matter what you do, you have to obey the legal regulations based on the country where you are, and then based on the network you are interacting with. So the agents will be programmed in such a way that it will automatically follow the complaints and rules. Even if you say that don't follow the complaints, it's not going to obey your rule because it is a legal requirement. So the companies, those who are training and building the agents, they will give all those to the agents, the pre-built rules for the agents, so that it will always follow the complaints and the legal regulations that it needs to follow. Yes, there are bad actors can create their own agents to illegally not to comply any rules and regulations. That's always possible. But generally, the companies, those who are building the agents, they will make sure that the agents follow the compliance. So the first steps to the agent ready portfolio. So these are all some of the steps you can do to make start using agents to manage your portfolio. So define agent mandate. What is the mandate for the agent? So raise precise instructions, objectives, constraints, and then the approvals and all cost budgets you give, and then the kill switches. We'll talk about the kill switches. These are all the rules and regulations. You need to write it down and give it to the agent in clear plain English so that agent can understand, and then you should ask agent whether it understood the rules. And also the kill switches, there should be a mechanism for agent to stop the transaction or completely, and then ask you as a human what to do next in case of many critical situations. For example, if there is a market collapse, then the agent, you don't want the agent to continue to do the transactions, continue to work on your behalf to committing the transaction. In that case, the agent needs to fall back to you as a owner of the agent. You should tell what to do. And then the plugging in the data. So make sure if there is any past transactions you want the agents to understand, you can tell, or you can tell the agents go, because you are interested in Ethereum blockchain, you want to tell the agents go and read all the on-chain transaction that happen on a particular type of asset token, or you can tell whatever you want to tell, so that the agents will get the data by itself based on your input, and it can retrain itself so that it can able to help you better. And then start with simple. For example, you don't have to give complex requirements for the agents to manage your entire portfolio. You can give notify me, alert me whenever the Ethereum blockchain transaction cost goes below $10 per transaction. So then in the agent will notify you, you will get an alert in your cell phone, so that you can understand how well the agent is working by manually going and checking. Once you are comfortable, then you can slowly start adding more and more tasks, more and more responsibilities to the agent, so that you will be comfortable. And then the defensive AI. See, the main challenge using the AI right now, whether you use ChatGPT or any other uh, Claude or any other AI platforms, there is no reproducibility how the agent did what it did. So there is always an issue that why it executed that transaction. It will tell that based on the rules, based on the algorithms, I executed it. So there is no clear way for the agents to tell, or any AI is to tell why it did what it did. But that's not the case with human. If the human go and commit a transaction, you can ask the human being, why did you do it? Then the human would explain, because of this market condition, because of these rules, because of the knowledge I have, I executed this transaction. But agents are not like that. So there should be a defensive mechanism, and then the guardrails that needs to set so that the agent can do what it's supposed to do, what it shouldn't do. So that's a critical aspect you need to understand by using the agent. So starting with small, understanding it, and then fine tuning it based on your needs. So that would be the right strategy. And keep human in the loop. Any agent, there is no, people talk about autonomous agent, but there is always the best practice of having human in the loop, because that AI technology is not fully ready so that you can completely give everything to an agent and the agent will take care of your portfolio. That's not going to happen in any time. So there is always a human in the loop needed, so that the agent can always ask you in case if he has any questions. If he doesn't follow any of the rules, whatever you defined, then the agent is going to come to you and ask your opinion. What should it do? Whether it should commit the transaction or it should stop the transaction. So there is a human in the loop scenario is always there, so that you can able to control the agent based on your goals, your requirements to manage the portfolio. These are all some of the risks that agents that can hurt you, and you need to understand before you start using agents. The overfitting and the regime fragility. The overfitting is that sometimes the agents, the AI technology can get the data, past data, and it can assume that that's going to be the case in the future also. That may not be the case. For example, the agent might have got the data where there was a major market issue, and it got all the data, and that data will tilt towards one type of market, and that may not exist, that may not happen the next day or the next year. So there will be overfitting that could happen. You need to understand, and also you need to identify what you need to do to remove it, so that the agent can have without any bias in performing the transactions for you. And then the execution cost blindness. There are a lot of backtest, overlook gas, fees, and failed transactions. The agent must simulate the cost and block those transactions, so that it can able to avoid those issues that often happen in the blockchain networks. And then the black box opacity. We talked about agents can't tell why it did what it did, but human can. To avoid that, you need to make sure that it logs all the transaction, all the actions it is performing on your behalf, so that at least you can understand why it did. You may not know why you did, or you will never know why you did a particular transaction, but at least you can show based on the rules what it did and what exactly it executed, so that you will have some kind of accountability for the agent's action. Because as I said earlier, the AI technology is still maturing, and people are working on trying to figure out, so that the agent or AI technology can able to tell why it did and what it did, so that you can have, just like human, the agent can explain the it actions. Then the market structure hazards. So during the trust, the maximum extractable value changes. It may go up or it may go down based on the individual goals and also the market condition. So you should have the circuit breaker. Circuit breaker is basically cutting the agent from doing any type of transaction, so that it will always ask you your input to do what it needs to do the next action. So that's a critical, and all the agent technology company, those who are working on, are all following these rules, so that you can understand it and use it to manage your portfolio. Okay, the verdict is the agents are all used, but human beings are not obsolete. So you need to know where to use the agent and where you need to pay attention, so that you can successfully use the agent to manage your portfolio. So what's obsolete? Manual monitoring and delayed execution. Agents can do a much better job of monitoring your portfolio 24/7. So, and then when to execute, that also agent can do. So occasional rebalanced based on vibes. For example, you may read a news article, or you may read a tweet in X. You don't want to make a drastic decision of balancing your portfolio based on that news, based on that market, based on your friends and family members told something. So if we can give those to the agent, then agent can do a better job of making sure there is no emotional decision used in performing a transaction. And then competing on execution quality without automation. See, the execution quality here is how quickly it can able to execute a transaction with less transaction cost for you. That's the agent can do, rather than you manually going and finding which network, which L2 network or which network has less transaction cost at the time and then sending your transaction. So that could change because this transaction cost is going to change drastically within a period of 1 hour. So you cannot monitor for the for your transaction to get committed. So the agents can do a better job. And what's the future proof? Human judgment is always needed in any agent transaction, whether it's a crypto or any other industry. There are a lot of AI agents are coming in, taking over a lot of humans' responsibility in various tasks and jobs. For all those, human needs to be in the loop. So human will be the final judgment, making sure that agents are doing what it's supposed to do, what it shouldn't do, so that it will always, you will have, as a human, you will always have a say for the agent, whether it's performing what it need to perform, so that you can able to change the course of action if needed. And then the setting mandates and the risk parameters. You can able to set the what mandate you have given for your agent, and what is the risk factors it can use, because that, as a human being, you need to tell the agent. Because if you are young, your risk tolerance would be more, and if you are in the age of retirement, then your risk tolerance is going to be low. So you need to make sure that you tell the agent what is the risk and reward it needs to go through, so that it can use the rules and execute it on your behalf. So, and if you want to change it on a regular basis, yeah, you can do that too, because the agents, you can able to update the rules, what it needs to follow on a regular basis. And the agents can do 24/7 relentless. It can keep monitoring. If you tell the agents to go and monitor a particular network for a specific condition, it can go and keep on doing it, scanning the transaction 24/7 for you, so that it can able to give you what you need based on automatically checking the transaction, automatically going through, understanding the intent, understanding the market conditions, whatever the rules and regulations you set it up for the agent, it's going to execute relentlessly 24/7 on your behalf. So that's all I want to discuss in this video. And as I said earlier, I'm going to repeat it again. This presentation is only for educational purposes. I am not your financial advisor. So in whatever you want to do with your crypto or any other portfolio, please talk to your financial advisor and then make the changes, because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just learning AI and then integrating AI to the crypto platform that I am building, dpa.analytica.com. You can go and learn what we are working on and understand it. So it's basically a Web 2 and Web 3 platform to analyze the data. So that's what we are working on, and we already have a product, and you can able to log in and start using it on your for your purpose. Right now, we are working only on Ethereum platform, but eventually we want to move to the other platforms like Solana and Bitcoin. But for now, if you want to analyze any transaction within Ethereum, you can use our tools for that purpose. Thanks for listening and appreciate your time. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to our video channel so that we can grow. Thank you. Bye.